Hey everyone, Loom here, and today I am bringing you a tutorial for my brand new 9-pin bar design, and it is called the Starburst bracelet. And this was named by one of my followers on Instagram, and I can't remember the account name, so I will make sure to put it in the description box below, and you can give them a follow. I really like this name. It's just, I don't know, it just sounds really pretty, but also because it's called Starburst, and these are kind of like little half starbursts in the center, and of course they're crossed and with these rows here. And it is reversible, so here's the other side. And I also added a double border in here, which is one of the things that Nyx Haley does in a lot of her bracelets. And I wanted to do that because I wanted a design that you could put the chained border on. So you can find that tutorial for the double border chaining concept, and that's on Artisan Loom's YouTube channel. So that's pretty cool. And then here's another one. So I'm not exactly sure which side I like best. I think on this one I like the back side best, and on this side I like the front. So you can wear it either way. And today I'm going to be using my Jelly Purple, Sweets Purple, the Royal Purple Limited Edition. This is the, not sure, it's like the hot pink and orange pearl, pink lemonade pearl, and the orange silk. Okay, and it does require 3 looms or 6 looms if you're going to do a full wrap. So go ahead and choose your colors, and we're going to start out with our border, which here is the yellow, of course. And I'm going to use my, whatever these are called. I can't think of the exact name, but so we start from the center, go to the left and to the right, and we're just doing a basic border here. And now we just clip the sides. And for a full wrap, I recommend going up about 20 on the sides. That's what I do for most of my bracelets, depending on your wrist size, which you probably kind of know what size you need. But this design doesn't really shrink too much or grow. It's just a basic kind of, I don't know, nothing is looped too tight or anything, so it won't shrink up on you. So. I don't really even count too much on my bracelets as I'm placing the border. I kind of just estimate because I know about where I typically go. So now on the right side, same thing. And also, sorry if you hear a lot of background noise. There is a huge storm going on right now. I'll try to kind of edit out the background noise if I can, but it's really loud. Now just angle up to meet it in the center. Like so. And now the next step is to place these 2 single chains that are going in the middle, the yellow on this bracelet. And I kind of like doing my border color, but that's up to you. That's what I did here as well. So I will stick with this same color. And we'll place those on the 4th row and the 6th row. So just straightforward. So just a basic single chain, you guys are probably familiar with this. So we place it all the way up on this row. And on the 6th row we place it up as well. So I'm going to place both of those all the way to the top, and I will meet you with that step finished. Okay, so I have those single chains placed all the way to the top. And now the next step is to place the zigzag, which on this one is the purple right here on the edge. And it will be kind of overlapped by color on the back, so you'll want to choose the right, choose a color that will kind of look good underneath there. So maybe contrasting colors if you like to do that. whatever you like. Okay, so I'm going to use, I guess I will use my Sweets purple for this. Okay, start in this left corner, go in at an angle. I'm going to zoom in a bit. There we go. And just simply zigzag that up the side. And you will go until you reach the very top, and we'll do the same thing on the right side. And since this step is really simple and so is the next step, I'm going to go ahead and show you one more step before we go off screen, and then you can finish both of those while we're off. So the next step is a single chain going up the same row, kind of covering your zigzags. So I'll go ahead and show you that too. So just super simple. Just on the second row, we're just placing a single chain, but of course make sure you've placed your zigzag all the way up first, and then you'll continue that over it. And same thing on this 8th row. So I'm going to go off screen and I'll finish my zigzags and both of my single chains, and I'll meet you at the top. Okay, so once you've placed those all the way up, our next step is to place this section right here, so everything that's in red, basically. And you want to use kind of a brighter color. I even, and kind of plan what color you're going to put underneath this, like so for the blue here, because you want those to be contrasting so that it really stands out. I mean, of course it's up to you, but that's what I recommend. So I'm going to use, I want to use my limited edition purple here. I'm just not sure if I'll have enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it though. Okay, so we're gonna start in this 3rd row, the first pin here. We're gonna go up at an angle, then go inward. Then start back on this side, go at an angle and inward. So now we go up to this pin, up at an angle, angle, inward. Now make sure you don't just go across here, because we have to start from the outside each time and go inward. Like that, and then we go up here. And make sure you're always starting from the outside and going in, or else it won't loop properly and it'll all fall apart. So and we're basically just doing that step all the way up the loom. So I'll show you once more and then I'll go off screen and let you finish it. Okay, so just continue those all the way up the loom, and I'll be right back to show you the next step. Okay, so I've just finished that step, and as you can see, I had to replace my Royal Purple Limited Edition with the Pink Lemonade pearls, and that's because I ran out of my purple bands, which I suspected, so I'll just use that on a different part, I suppose. But now we're ready for the next step, and first I'll show you what the end looks like. So that's what it should look like at the end. So now we're going to place a zigzag going on these 2nd and 3rd rows. So that's this underneath color. And we're actually going to be placing 2 zigzags next to each other. And I definitely recommend using the same color. It might look kind of messy with 2, because a zigzag is going to go here and here. So we'll start on this first pin on the 2nd row. And we are going to be overlapping these underneath bands here. And we're just placing that zigzag all the way up. And I really like using the either jellies or electric, like the electric blue or electric purple here, because they're kind of a little more translucent, I guess, and so they make the underneath color stand out better. So you'll place that all the way up on the left. And same thing on the right. You zigzag all the way up. And there's a lot of zigzags in this section, so it can get kind of confusing, but especially since we're using the same color. So you'll place those all the way up, and after you place those all the way up, you can place your next zigzag. So I'll go ahead and show you that step before I go off screen. And that's just starting here now, and we're doing that same thing. We're just simply doing a zigzag. And then that would go all the way up as well. And same thing on this side. So lots of zigzags in this bracelet, but it turns out with a pretty cool pattern, I think. And by the way, before I forget, the bracelet that I'm wearing today is my Outburst bracelet. And I just posted the tutorial here on my channel, so you can check that out if you're interested. Okay, so go ahead and place all 4 zigzags going all the way up your loom. Of course, you're doing these outer ones first, and then the inner ones. So I'm going to finish those up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've placed all 4 rows of my zigzags going all the way to the top, and this is what it should look like. And the next step is to place our half starbursts that are in the center. And here I use the purple for that. And I'm actually going to be using a pattern for this one, so I'll be alternating my deep purple opaque purple, the regular opaque purple, and the purple sweets. So I know it seems like a lot of purple in this color combo, but it will be broken up with these bright bursts of the orange and pink. So hopefully it'll look good. I think it will. Okay. So we are going to be overlapping these bands that are here, and just like in a regular starburst, you start by going up at an angle and then you go around. So we're going to do that same thing. So if you're starting right here, we go straight over to the right. And I'll zoom in a bit. So in the pattern, we are basically placing a half starburst in each box. So this one goes straight over to the right. This one goes down at an angle, straight down, angle to the left, and straight over. So that's one half starburst, and we're placing one of those in each box. So my next one is my regular opaque purple. So I go to the right, angle, straight down, left angle, and straight to the left. And next is my deep purple opaque. So we just go around in a clockwise rotation. I'll start my pattern over with the sweets. So one more time, starting that center pin to the right, angle, straight down, angle into the left. So you can place one of those half starbursts in every box going all the way up the loom, and I will be right back. Okay, once you've placed those all the way up your loom, we are ready to place our double border. And see, that is the red that I have on this bracelet. And I like to use a color that will kind of balance with the middle. So for example, I used kind of a darker purple here in the middle, so I'm going to use my darker purple for the border. So choose a color for that, and then we're just going to place it exactly like we placed our first border, just starting in the center here, and we're just working our way around. So this allows us to do the chaining concept that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, and it also just kind of makes the bracelet more sturdy, just a little stronger. So just going all the way around the left side. Oops. And I'm dropping them everywhere. Okay, and then we just bring it into the center just like we did before. And into the middle. Okay, and now we're just going to do the same thing on the right. I'm really excited to see how this bracelet turns out because it's basically just two tones. I mean, I basically just have purple and then my orange, so not sure how that's going to look, but I'm excited to see it. Place that into the center like so. And there's our double border. And now the very last step is to place cap bands in the center of each of our little half starburst things. And you can use whatever color you want. Since I use multiple colors here, I'm actually going to use the underneath color, which is my pink lemonade. Well, actually, I take that back. I'm going to use my purple sweets. So it's really up to you. The cap bands don't show through too much, so if you want to do the color that's underneath that goes around and down, then you can do that, or just the color of your starburst. But they're going to be triple wrapped cap bands. So the first one's going to go on the second pin up in the middle. 1, 2, and 3. And the next one. So I think it's easiest to just wrap it with your fingers, but if you don't like to stretch them out as much, then you can also do it on your hook. 1, 2, 3, grab it, and stretch it over the pin. That's how I used to do it, but it's a lot more time consuming, and I don't think it really changes the look of the bracelet in the end. And you don't have to worry about if the bands are twisted for this part either, since you won't really see it. So we're going to place those all the way up the loom until we get to the very top here, and then you'll want to place your underneath border color on top here, and I recommend using 2 bands. So you'll take your 2 bands here and wrap them twice, because there are going to be a lot of bands coming out of this cap band with the starbursts and then both borders, so make sure it's either triple wrapped or 2 bands. So I'm going to place all of those up my loom, and I'll be right back. Alright, so now my cap bands are placed all the way up the center of my loom, and we are ready to loop. So you can just spin your loom around here. And our first looping step is this top border that we placed. So just grab your hook, go into this cap band, pull out these bands, left and then right, and we're just looping up that border. So just bring each one back to itself. Very simple. And I'm hoping that I don't break any of these limited edition purple because I only have like 2 extras. I'm running really low on my bands and I can't really afford to get new ones yet, so I'm saving up or just waiting for my birthday, but that's 5 months away, so that's why I've been doing kind of some weird color combos in my videos lately. Although I must say, so far they've turned out pretty good, so fingers crossed for this one too. Just loop it into the center now. And horizontal. And same thing on the right. And also there's something I've been wondering, which, I didn't want to make like a whole separate video just to ask this question, so if you guys don't mind answering in the comments below, but I know that kind of hook-only designs have been getting really popular lately, and I don't do too many of those, but I do kind of like fiddling with my hook once in a while, so I was wondering if you guys would like to see more of those on my channel, the hook-only designs, or if you guys kind of like the wider designs or the one-loom designs, just kind of, I don't know, I guess just let me know what you guys would like to see more of. Because, of course, as you know, I kind of prefer wider designs, so that's what I post a lot of, but I also have some thinner designs I need to do tutorials on. I've just kind of been waiting since these have been the most requested, so just comment that below and let me know. Okay, so now our next step is to loop out this center layer of starbursts. So we go back into here, grab that top band, which is kind of just overlapping that border we just did. So it does get pretty thick on this bottom part here since we have a lot looped out. And we're just looping out from top to bottom, and it should be going counterclockwise. All the way around. Then we go to our next one. And just loop it around counterclockwise. And you might need to kind of push them down. It gets a little bit band heavy there in the center. And I will show you one more time, and I'll let you finish it off screen. Okay, so I'm going to finish up that step all the way to the top of my loom, and I'll be right back. So I've looped those all the way to the top, and the next step is to loop out this inner row of zigzags. And we are simply going in on the left, and we're just grabbing the top band and pulling it back. Grab the next one and pull it back to itself. And we're doing that all the way up. Like so, and you will do that all the way up on the left side, and the right side is the same way. Just kind of, we're using the Starburst as our cap band. And just pulling the zigzags out from there. So you will do that all the way up on both of these inner zigzags, and I'll meet you at the top. And now the next step is to loop out these outer zigzags, and we're actually doing that the exact same way. So we're using the first row that we looped out kind of as our cap band. So we just go in there and pull them back to themselves. And we do that all the way up on both rows. So that's the left side, and same thing on the right side. Just go into here. And go all the way up. So finish that up, and I'll meet you at the top again. Alrighty, so now we are ready to move on to the underneath part, kind of the arrows or whatever you want to call those. And so we're going to be looping out from those cap bands we placed earlier where our starbursts are looped out from. So you're going to start on the second one up in the center, grab the top one and loop it out, and it should be going to the left if you placed them the same way as me. And now grab the next one, pull it over, the next one, and pull it over. So we place from outward to inward, and now we're looping from inward to outward. So same thing on the right. Just like that. So very easy. Now we'll move up to this next one. Oops, and make sure you don't grab your single chain underneath it. Just grab the top one that goes over to the side. And if it's easier for you, you can also do it by steps. So just like do these center ones all the way up and then come back and do the arrows. I actually think that's a little bit quicker for some reason. Maybe it just feels like it because you're moving up the loom quicker, but... And then you can go back and loop them out to the angle. So however you want to do that, you can just go ahead and finish that all the way up the loom. And then I will come back to show you the next step. Okay, so far here's what it should look like. And there at the end, of course, you just loop over that one. So now we're ready for the next step, which is to loop out these 2 single chains going in the center. So we're just going to the beginning of those single chains, and we're just bringing them to themselves. Straight forward. And same thing on the right. And if one of your bands kind of pops off when you loop that, make sure you put it back on there. Don't want to miss a band when we loop up our perimeter. Hopefully this video hasn't been too dark. I usually use some natural light whenever I'm filming, but as I mentioned earlier, there's a bad storm, so there's not much light, just clouds and rain, so. Okay. And now the next step is to loop over these, but we actually aren't looping them straight back to themselves. We are looping them out at an angle. So you're going to grab this first one, and instead of pulling it back to itself, we're pulling it at an angle all the way up. So it's not just a short angle, it's a long stretch. Then grab the next one and pull it a long stretch. And it will just continue up the loom like that. So each band will be parallel to the one before it. So you'll do that all the way up the left, and same thing on the right. I'll get you started. So grab this first one, and instead of pulling it to itself, it comes way over at an angle here. Okay, so I'll go off screen and finish that step, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and I've looped it almost all the way up, but I just wanted to show you real quick on this last band. Of course, you can't pull it on a long stretch, you probably noticed. So we are actually just grabbing that band, and we're just pulling it right over to here. So it's just kind of a short stretch over at an angle. So now we are ready for our next step, which is just to loop out these zigzag bands. And we're actually just going in and grab that top one, pull it back to itself, and we're doing that all the way up the loom. So just like we did our other 2 zigzags, or other 4 zigzags, I should say. So we're doing it that same way on both sides. So now on this side. And you might need to kind of push your bands down every once in a while, because it does get a little bit tight. So I'm going to loop those all the way to the top, and I'll be right back to show you the final step. So now we are ready for the final step, and that is just to loop out this bottom perimeter. So we're just doing that the same as we did for our top perimeter. We are just pulling it around to itself. Back to the center, pull it to the right. And there are going to be a lot of bands on each pin, so make sure you're very careful when you pull up these bands. So now on the right side. And I don't normally go off screen for the borders, but since I need to go kind of slow and be very careful with this bottom border here, I'm actually going to go off screen. I'll meet you back at the top. So of course you're just going to go up and loop it into the middle, and I'll show you how to secure it at the end. Okay, so when you get to the top, we are going to need to grab 2 bands, 1 or 2 bands. I prefer to do 2, especially on these wider designs, just to hold it together. And you're going to stick your hook through there, through all those bands and kind of out the side, and place those 2 bands on your hook, and just pull them through. Bring them together and attach your C-clip. And it helps if you have one of the wider C-clips that comes with the special or the limited edition bands. It doesn't have to be that. Okay, and now you can just carefully remove it with your hook. So I'll do that off screen, and I'll come right back with my finished bracelet. Okay, so here is the finished product. And I'm absolutely in love with the color choice. I wasn't sure when I was placing it, but I think it really, all the colors really stand out from each other well. And I'm super happy with how it turned out. So I hope you guys like this design, and if you enjoyed the video, then please give it a big thumbs up below, and also subscribe to my channel because I have a lot more bracelets coming, including, here's a little sneak peek. I have this one, which is another 9-pin bar design, and it is coming soon for if you like wide bracelets. And if you like thinner bracelets, then I have this one, which is kind of a spin off of my Outburst bracelet that I just posted. So all of that coming up, and a ton of other bracelets, so please subscribe. And if you make one of these bracelets here, then please make sure to take a picture and post on Instagram and tag me at Loomaniac, and also use the hashtags hashtag #StarCrossed Bracelet and hashtag official Loomaniac. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.